If you're pining over Peter Kavinsky, it's probably because you can't get over how perfect he is. Well, before you go comparing your boyfriend to him, let's jump right into why this high school stud was giving us unrealistic expectations about love. Watch until the end to find out why Peter is too good to be true. New around here? Don't forget to subscribe to The Things and give us a big thumbs up. Now let's dive right into 10 times Peter Kavinsky gave us unrealistic expectations about love. He didn't tell anybody about the love letter. High school is a troubling time for everyone, even the jocks. With this in mind, most students will go the extra mile to get some attention. It's no secret that Peter Kavinsky is a catch, which is why he shouldn't have been surprised to receive Lara Jean's love letter. Most high schoolers wouldn't miss the chance to tell the entire school that someone loves them. Instead of telling his friends about Lara Jean's confession, he decided to go straight to the source. Peter told Lara Jean that he'd recently been dumped and that it wasn't going to happen. Lara Jean, who was clearly mortified, ended up kissing him to avoid having to speak to Josh. To say that this confused Peter would be an understatement. Once again, Peter did the unexpected and refrained from telling his friends. Instead, he went to Lara Jean's house to make sure that they were on the same page. Since most high schoolers wouldn't think twice before posting Lara Jean's love letter online, we're led to think that Peter might be too good to be true. After all, he didn't tell a soul about the embarrassing letter. He wrote her love notes. After making a contract with Lara Jean, Peter stated that he would write her love letters every single day, to piss off Jen, of course. The fact that Peter actually did this is more than a little confusing, especially since he actually filled up his notes with genuine words. Lara Jean didn't even bother reading his love notes because she figured there'd be nothing inside of them. After all, he didn't want to include those notes in the contract to make his ex jealous. While there's plenty of guys who would take the time to write their girlfriend's love notes during class, to expect this is sort of unrealistic. The difference between Jen and Lara Jean is that Jen asked Peter to write her notes while Lara Jean just let it happen. While we hate to say that daily love notes are unrealistic, we just can't help it. After all, high schoolers tend to send each other cute texts instead of taking the time to write an adorable note or two. Want to prove us wrong? Tell us about all the love notes you've received in the comments. He was thinking long term. If there's one thing we all know too well, it's that high school relationships don't always last. Regardless of this, it's better to have loved and lost than never have loved at all, right? When Peter Kavinsky approached Lara Jean with his proposition, he gave her some time to think it over. And to his great surprise, she accepted his offer with the exception that some ground rules be taken into account. Not having the pressures of dating present in the relationship allowed both Peter and Lara Jean to open up without being afraid. When the new couple sat down to write out their contract, Peter insisted that she accompany him to the ski trip. However, this event was 3 months away. The fact that Peter would date someone for over 3 months to make his ex jealous is super unrealistic. But hey, Lara Jean wasn't complaining. After all, being by his side stopped her from feeling invisible. Are we the only ones who think it's unrealistic for a boy to get excited about taking his fake girlfriend to a post-dated ski trip? We don't think so. He went to find her at the corner cafe. If there's one thing high school boys don't usually do, it's show up at a girl's doorstep without texting them first. After telling Lara Jean that he wasn't interested in her that way, Peter felt like he still needed to clear the air. After all, Lara Jean had practically jumped him after he rejected her. The youngest Covey daughter answered the door and told Peter where he could find Lara Jean. Afterwards, he drove all the way to the corner cafe, ordered a milkshake, and tried to talk things over with the girl he thought to be in love with. While Peter's actions were absolutely adorable, we can't help but address the elephant in the room. Why wouldn't he just text her? In this day and age, it's safe to say that a text goes a long way, which is why Peter's actions are more than unrealistic. But hey, if any of you ever find someone who's willing to show up in person to discuss their feelings, don't let them get away. He watched 16 Candles. When Lara Jean found out that Peter had never watched the legendary movie 16 Candles before, she was at a loss for words. So much so that she requested that he watch it with her as part of their contract. While it isn't unrealistic to watch a movie with your boyfriend, be him of the fake variety or not, it is kind of unheard of for a high school jock to watch a chick flick with his girlfriend and her younger sister. Not only did Peter enjoy spending a night with Lara Jean and Kitty, but he also made it a point to act out some of its scenes with Lara Jean. After all, she did want him to put his hand in her back pocket as seen in the movie. Not only did Peter respect her every wish, but he also made it a point to learn the hand and pocket spin perfectly. His new signature move caused many viewers to wish that their boyfriends would do the same. Now, we're not saying that it's impossible for a man to watch a romantic comedy with you and your family, but we've only ever seen this happen on the big screen. He drove across town to buy her yogurt. If there's one thing that everyone deserves, it's finding someone who will go out of their way to make them happy. While we all find someone like this eventually, it can take time to truly connect with another person on that level. Peter and Lara Jean quickly began caring for one another. However, they had a hard time being honest about how they were feeling. Sure, they could talk about their family life and the many pressures of adolescence, but when it came to clearing the air about their dating life, things got a little complicated. If there's one thing Lara Jean wasn't looking forward to, it was the ski trip. This is because she was starting to fall for Peter and didn't want to complicate things any further. Peter eventually convinced her to go by getting her best friend to tag along. The fact that Peter wanted Lara Jean to come on the ski trip that badly was definitely adorable. Knowing that she would be stepping out of her comfort zone, Peter drove across town to buy some of her favorite yogurts from a Korean grocery store. This kind and thoughtful gesture might be sweet, but it definitely raises the bar for all the boys will love in the future. He showed her off to the world. Relationships can go one or two ways. Either they're amazing or they drive you completely insane. Despite the fact that Peter and Lara Jean's relationship was of the fake variety, you could say that they had an amazing connection. If there's one thing Peter knows how to do, it's make Jen jealous. However, after a few dates with Lara Jean, we sort of stopped believing that his love for Jen was genuine. Sure, Peter might be showing Lara Jean off to the world in order to piss his ex off, but there's something different about the way he looks at her. As soon as Peter and Lara Jean make things official, he takes a picture of her and puts it in his background. On top of that, he also takes selfies with her and posts them on his social media accounts. So in other words, he's truly showing her off on every platform. Despite enjoying the attention she's receiving, Lara Jean can't help but keep her distance. After all, she knows that the hammer will drop sooner or later and that her pictures will get replaced with ones of Jen. Little does she know, though, that Peter actually enjoys showing her off to the world. He was honest about how he felt. From very early on, it becomes obvious that Peter is crushing on Lara Jean for real. Unfortunately for them, they're both still convinced that what they have is fake. Peter is one who has to set the pace during simple conversations. Instead of flat out saying that he likes her, Peter tries to make her see that his feelings are genuine with his actions alone. While on the ski trip, Peter and Lara Jean finally confess their feelings and make their relationship real. Despite going to bed on a high note, the couple gets into a spat the following morning when Jen snakes her way between them. When Peter realizes that Lara Jean is avoiding his calls, he decides to show up to her house. He tries to come clean about how he feels and tells her that she was never second best. Instead of getting into a fight with Josh and ruining his chances with Lara Jean, Peter walks away and leaves the rest to fate, but not before telling Lara Jean how he really feels about her. He defended her in front of the entire school. Lara Jean never wanted to go on the ski trip, mainly because she didn't know how to ski and was afraid of getting intimate with Peter. Despite not riding the bus with Peter on the way there, Lara Jean sat next to him on the way back. However, things got weird as soon as she stepped onto the bus. After all, everyone on it started clapping as though she'd done something amazing. After getting into a spat with Peter, Lara Jean gets tagged in an Instagram video by an unknown person. This video clearly shows her and Peter hooking up in the hot tub. Not knowing what to do, Lara Jean turns to her big sister, who manages to take the video down. Fearing that the worst is over, Lara Jean returns to school after the Christmas break to find out that her locker has been vandalized. Pictures of her in the hot tub are taped to her locker for all to see. Instead of bragging about hooking up with her, Peter yells at the entire school and tells them that nothing happened. On top of that, he tells his classmates that whoever's caught talking about the ordeal will have him to answer to. If only every high school boy was like Peter, the world would definitely be a better place. He respected all the rules in the contract. If there's one thing we noticed while watching To All the Boys I've Loved Before, it's that Lara Jean didn't stay true to the contract. Both she and Peter clearly stated that none of them could tell people that their relationship was fake. However, Lara Jean told a few of her friends about their little secret. On the other hand, Peter never told a soul about their arrangement, which is totally hard to believe. Not only did Peter respect every single rule in the contract, but he also went above and beyond to court Lara Jean. Were we the only ones who kept expecting the entire school to find out about their fake relationship? After all, Lara Jean did let the cat out of the bag, so this easily could have happened. Luckily for her, her friends Chris and Lucas knew how to keep things confidential. So if Lara Jean went back on her word and didn't tell Peter about it, who's to say that he didn't do the same? In the end, we guess we'll have to accept that Peter is perfect in every way, shape, and form. While he might seem too good to be true, that won't stop any of us from having a big fat crush on him. So, what's your favorite Peter and Lara Jean moment? Let us know in the comments. And that's a wrap. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching and see you next time.